Attention! To participate in the boys basketball program here at Bonner Springs High School, you must read the following and agree to sign the contract. By signing this contract, your signature will represent your understanding of the procedures set by this program and the expectations set by the coaching staff. The purpose of this contract is to set a code of accountability for the players. We would like the players to experience and understand the importance of following a system. This type of system is not just for basketball, but to prepare them for life beyond high school. Hello, and welcome to the parents and the players of the 2017-18 Braves boys basketball team. I'm head coach Dan Strite. We are trying something new here this year, experimenting with how we deliver a parent rules meeting with you. Instead of trying to work a scheduled time to meet, I thought it might be better if we try an electronic meeting where you can sit down at your leisure and go through with the hope that it's more convenient for you. Now understand though, before your son will be allowed to participate in a regular season or tournament game, I must have confirmation that you have watched this video and that a copy of the player-parent contract is on file in my office. So let's get started. Here at Bonner Springs High School, it's always been our intent to put a team on the floor that is fun to watch, represents the values of the school and the community, and competes hard each night, giving us a chance to come away with a win. Now I'm very excited about this year's squad. We are senior heavy, returning essentially our starting group that went 12-9 last season, a season that was riddled with injuries at times. We have good experience as well as good character student athletes who want to be successful. Just knowing the majority of the group makes me feel good about this year's chances. We also have new coaching assignments this season, which I'm excited about. Now, Coach Brown, who was my freshman coach for the past 5 seasons, has moved on to explore a new career in law enforcement. We wish him well, and we thank him for his service to our Brave family. Stepping down to coach the freshman team this year is Coach Lecker. Coach Lecker, who has been our JV coach for the past 5 years, has a great eye for the game, and he'll instill in our youth a sense of structure and accountability that is needed with today's student athlete. Now, stepping in at the JV spot will be Coach Oakes. You might remember Coach Oakes. He was the former head girls coach at Bonner Springs High School from 2007 to 2016, leading the first ever Lady Braves team to state. His vast coaching experience as an assistant and as a head coach will serve our program for years to come. So I hope the enthusiasm that we as a coaching staff have about the upcoming season will become contagious with our players, our fans, and you, the parents. On paper, we have the opportunity, if we play like we are capable of playing, of having a very memorable season. So let's start looking at this year's player contract.
Okay, all players within this program will follow any and all of the school policies regarding conduct, integrity, and discipline in and out of season. We have high expectations within Brave Nation, and we want all players to live up to those expectations the best they can. Number 2, all players are required to attend all practices, film sessions, team meetings, and games during the season. There will be no exceptions unless the reason warrants the absence. The coaching staff will use their discretion on a case-by-case basis to determine if the absence is excused or unexcused. If it's unexcused, the first unexcused absence will result in loss of starting position and game time or playing time altogether. A second unexcused absence will result in the player being suspended from the team. And on the third unexcused absence, the player will be dismissed from the team. Now note, if you are sick or injured, you must contact the coaching staff immediately. If the staff is not contacted, it'll be considered unexcused. If you're injured or sick, you are still expected to be at practice unless that sickness could be contagious, and if it could infect other players. Understand this: if you don't practice, you don't play. Playing time is determined in practice. If you miss practice, it's up to you to do extra work after a normal practice to make up for the practice you missed. Then and only then will you be considered back in good standing with the coaching staff and the rest of the team. Know this as well: all players have access to me through internet access with email, or they can text me. They all have my phone number. So there's no reason why I should not be notified. If their number changes, it's their responsibility to let me know that number changed so I can put it into my phone. I text the boys to let them know if practice changes, practice times, or change of events. So make sure they are taking care of responsibility. 3, all players are required to be on time for practices. All players are to arrive at the school 10 minutes prior to the start of practice on weekends and non-school practice days. Now, I do know you like to sleep in, but in order for us to get our job done, we need to make sure you're here on time. This time will allow players to see the trainer and stretch prior to the start of practices. Arriving at the start of practice, that's unacceptable, and that'll be considered as being late. Consequences for being late are as follows. A, the first time you're late, extra training with the coach. Second time you're late, loss of starting position and game time or playing time altogether. Third time you're late, you're suspended from the team. And the fourth time, you are dismissed from the team. Number 4, there will not be any insubordination tolerated towards the coaching staff, other teammates, faculty members, referees, or managers at any time. Consequences for being insubordinate are as follows. The first time, it's extra training with the coach. Second time, it's loss of starting position and game time or playing time altogether. If you have a third time of insubordination, you'll be suspended from the team. And the fourth time, you are dismissed from the team. Now, there are times when players are a little frustrated and a player or coach might use inappropriate language. We're trying to do our best here to police such language and try to discourage any and all such language in games and practices within the boys basketball program. If the student athlete becomes a habitual offender regarding the use of inappropriate language, the student athlete will be suspended for a game. Now, the incidents leading up to that suspension will cause the player to do some extra conditioning. This extra conditioning will be administered by one of the coaches within the program. 6. Regarding the dress code, all players are required to dress nice for all games, no exceptions. The coaching staff is not requiring players to dress in shirt and tie for games, but we do ask that all players look nice, such as in khakis, polos, etc., not ripped jeans or ripped shirts or t-shirts. We want our athletes to look nice for the school and the community. Players will wear their travel jacket on game days only, and we're not going to wear our game sneakers to and from games. We also do not wear our uniforms or anything pertaining to school-owned gear checked out to the players as daily wear. It is worn only for games. All players will be using the issued team bag to carry their equipment to and from games, and if you forget any part of the uniform for games, you don't play. The player is responsible to have all the equipment that was issued to him for games. And that means you cannot take another player's uniform and use that number during the game. Shorts, not as big a concern, but jerseys, never. Concerning practices, the coaching staff requires you to wear the team-issued practice jersey and shorts for scrimmaging purposes. If you forget to wear your team-issued practice jersey and shorts, you'll be subjected to some extra conditioning. If there's a problem with any of your equipment, you must notify a coach immediately. We can't fix what we don't know about.
Now, all athletes who wish to be issued a locker and lock for security purposes in the District Physical Education Center team locker room must talk to me. We share this room with the high school wrestling team, and all athletes should learn to dress and undress in that locker room and secure the equipment with issued locks. Any items determined to be stolen from unlocked lockers is not the responsibility of the coaching staff. So, please remember, if you're going to use a locker, lock your locker. Now, number 7, if a player receives a technical foul during a game and it is warranted, that player will sit the rest of the quarter and possibly the next viable quarter. Here's an example. A player receives a technical in the fourth quarter of a game. They'll sit the rest of that quarter and possibly the first quarter of the next game. If the player is a normal starter, then they might not start the following game. If a player is ejected from a game, that's more serious, and that player will miss the next game for sure. And it could be that he might be suspended from the team. All these decisions will be at the discretion of the head coach after all information is gathered regarding the incident and discussed with the coaching staff. Now, any suspensions will be discussed with the athletic director before any decision is made. Number 8, if a player receives a detention or suspension during school, the following consequences will apply. For detentions, a first-time detention will be a loss of starting position and game time or playing time altogether, as well as extra conditioning. A second time, that loss of starting position and game time or playing time altogether, as well as extra conditioning. A third time will be a team suspension, as well as extra conditioning. And the fourth time, they will be dismissed from the team. On suspensions, a first time, loss of starting position and game time or playing time altogether, as well as extra conditioning. A second time suspension will be extra conditioning. A third suspension, they will be dismissed from the team. 9, now all players will travel on the bus to games. There's no exceptions. While traveling on the bus,
the students are permitted to listen to an iPod or any other device that plays music, but they must have headsets and the volume will be set so only they can hear the music. All headsets and portable devices will be put away before they get off the bus. They will not be walking into any facility with a headset on their head. Players may ride home with parents, legal guardians, if the said parents or legal guardians have signed the Bonner Springs High School Transportation sign-out form prior to or after the basketball game. This form will usually be with one of our assistant coaches. Now, if a parent or legal guardian wishes to have their son travel home with another parent, they must have completed a parent's transportation permission form for coaches, and this form will be submitted prior to the basketball contest. A copy of this form will be emailed to you soon, or you can contact the high school athletic office for one. A copy will also be emailed prior to our first travel game. Number 10, the team locker room is not a hangout for you and your friends, players. No one outside the boys basketball program is permitted into the team locker room without the coaching staff's permission. So note this, if your friends are to respect this team rule, you are responsible for their actions. Don't let them in. Now, number 11 focuses on a different aspect. This is parents needing to talk with a coach. So parents, if you need to speak with a coach regarding an issue that pertains to basketball, academics, or conduct, we encourage you to follow this procedure. First, we hope that your son will take the time and the initial step to have any and all issues cleared up with coaching staff that he might have. However, if this hasn't sufficed the inquiry, then we suggest that you as a parent call the athletic office. Here's their number listed below, 913-422-5121, extension 4012. There you can set up an appointment to meet with the coach of the team your child plays for. So on the freshman team, you would talk with Coach Lecker. For JV, Coach Oakes, and for varsity, me, yourself, Coach Strite. Now, here are some things that we don't want you to do. We don't want you to ask a coach or approach a coach right after a game to discuss any of these issues. 2, you are not asked to call or text a coach at home or on their cell to discuss any of these issues. The number or cell phone that I give out is for your child, not for you. You are asked not to approach a coach before or after practice. Any situation or problems you may have can be better handled if an appointment is made and we can sit down and discuss your concerns. A good note to follow, 24 hours waiting time to let both parent and or coach calm down. Note, personal stats and playing time will not be a topic to be discussed. This program is built on the concept of team basketball. Playing time is determined by the player's performance, their attitude, their conduct, execution, and skill level in practice. As the season moves along, there might be additions to this contract to help stimulate growth and for the good of the order, but we will communicate those changes as they happen to both the parents and the players of the Bonner Springs boys basketball program.